Dear President Obama, we believe education should be your first priority. America's future is the future of our children. We need to prepare them to live in a new global marketplace, and when could be a better time than now? No Child Left Behind states that schools take annual standardized tests. Title I schools to get Title I funding must make adequate yearly progress. If they fail, the funding is cut and the school is put on the list of failing schools in the local paper. Parents then can move children to other schools. Is this fair to schools and parents?
It is, I would say. We have put millions and billions of dollars into our public education system. Here in Indiana, we spend about $10 billion in state and local taxpayer dollars on our public education system. And then on top of that, the federal government provides the state of Indiana about $630 million annually in funds to support public education. So we've made a tremendous investment in public education, and we need to hold our schools accountable for results.
So our school has made amazing progress a few years ago in all the subcategories except one. And we were labeled a failing school.
If a school is not meeting adequate progress on a yearly basis, we need to provide opportunities for improvement through additional financial resources, but also through changes in policy and program. And after additional support and funding, if the school is still not meeting expectations or targets for performance, something needs to happen. So I think it is fair that the students who are in that system or in that school be given other opportunities.
Teaching should become more a science than an art. Many teachers have reacted negatively to the act because of a feeling that the test requirement puts an emphasis on the basics, which is the science, at the exclusion of the art, which is the enrichment that we have there. So while no one wants the curriculum to be a mile wide and an inch deep, subjects like social studies and art are important. What's your feeling about that?
Do you believe in large-scale testing? In Indiana, 63% of third graders passed the ISTEP standardized test in the year of 2007 to 2008.
Large scale is an interesting word, or an interesting phrase. We're doing a lot of standardized testing this year because the ISTEP changed from fall to spring. I don't mind putting what I do on record so people can see how seriously I take my job.
I think people who are assessing students' progress should be those who know the student best and who can assess the growth of a student in a given year. Standardized tests, the history of standardized tests go back to the early 1900s, 1970s.
Behind those tests became high-stakes tests. And their consequences they weren't used anymore to improve the instruction at your school. Now they're used to rate your school, rate your students, and to put in special programming, and I have a real problem with that.
Absolutely. I think that echoes the things I've already said. We do need to hold schools accountable for all the money that we invest in public education. There has to be some standard of measurement to measure progress and measure performance. And so we also need to make sure students are progressing. If they're not meeting academic standards, we need to know in what areas and how to provide opportunities for remediation and enriched curriculum.
Pay for teachers based on student performance.
It's a very tricky deal. And I'm afraid that our new Secretary of Education is in support of merit pay. He's used that in Chicago public schools. The problem with merit pay, as I've seen it applied across the country, is that the merit comes on student achievement.
So merit pay is probably a fair thing if implemented correctly in a balanced way where we consider multiple criterion for evaluation. Everyone else in the workplace, typically, they're based on their performance. Are they producing, meeting expectations, and helping contribute to high output of the product that they're contributing and making or producing? So I think it's fair, it's reflective of the workplace today in America and across the world that we all are judged on performance. And so therefore I think student performance should be one criteria for evaluating teachers.
I hate it. hate it because somebody has to take the kids that are struggling.
Kids who come from advantaged backgrounds with privilege are going to do better in school. Teachers of children of privilege in better schools, those kids perform better. Those teachers have higher levels of achievement in their classroom, and they're already paid much more than teachers in lower performing schools.
What is your opinion on school choice?
Child left behind, and I hope the new president understands that. I think he knows that we need more options in schooling. I know he's taken the risk as a Democrat to be a supporter of the charter school movement and of having choices for kids who couldn't otherwise afford choices. The great irony is that kids who grew up in more affluent families, if they don't like their local public school, they can go either to a parochial school or to a private school, even homeschooled. Kids with less privilege, less income in their families, they're left with no option whatsoever.
If the school is underperforming, why should we keep students in that underperforming school? So I think it is a fair system. It's not a perfect system. It needs improved. Again, I think this upcoming Congress will take action to modify the federal law to address some of the law's shortcomings. But the principles of the law are fair. We need to improve all schools that are underperforming, and we need to provide students with an adequate learning opportunity for their success.
Well, school funding obviously here in Indiana is much more a local issue than a federal issue or a state issue. Just this week I heard Governor Daniels in his State of the State speech give what I think was an outstanding presentation as to where Indiana schools K through 12 need to go. We've had far too many dollars being spent in those schools that aren't being spent in the classroom, and part of his program is to move more dollars that way.
First, America is competing with well-educated people all over the world. To really succeed, we need to have the best education possible. Second, America's future is in the hands of our children. The better educated they are, the brighter future we can hope for. Third, America is becoming more and more diverse and multicultural every day. The best way to familiarize our citizens with other lifestyles is a good education. The way you rose from humble beginnings to where you are today is an inspiration to everyone. And I believe that everyone should have the chance to do that and succeed in the global marketplace, whether rich or poor.